Look at those boons and the tankiness of this build. It's amazing for open world content. Be sure to watch the video to the end, because I will explain every single thing that you need to know to play this build to its fullest. So let's start with the gear. So for gear, as typical for open world builds that want to be tanky, you want to run full Celestial with Spear and Mace Shield. So you are Herald, and therefore you get a lot of baseline vitality increases and stuff when we get to the traits. But when you combine it with Rune of the Trapper, you get even more condition duration, condition damage. Then this build becomes more like a Condi build with a lot of defense like toughness, vitality, healing power, and concentration. You don't really care about the power and the precision and ferocity, because this is really condition focused. That's why you also should go for malign or condition damage infusions. And you can see we get a really high boon duration and condition duration if you go full Celestial on trinkets as well. And on your relic slot, I would recommend going for Relic of Rivers, just to get also access to alacrity, which means this build has so many boons, so many tools that it can use. So just by using this relic, you get permanent alacrity and permanent regen. Really, really good. So for your sigils, I would recommend going Frailty on both sets, just to keep more vulnerability stacks up on the boss. And on the Spear, I would go for Sigil of Generosity, so that you have a Condi cleanse. That's quite nice. If you know you don't need any Condi cleanses, you can go for something else, for example for Doom Sigil. I would rather recommend doing this, because if you want to have a build that is really tanky and stuff, you also need Condi cleanses most of the time. So on the other set, like I said, Frailty, but on the second one, Geomancy. It's really good. It procs around you when you weapon swap or when you legend swap on this weapon. It's really, really good. For utility and food, I would go with Tuning Icicles, just for the most condition damage you can get, and Cilantro and Cured Meat Flatbreads. The reason for that is you just want Condi damage and expertise, sure, but the damage reduction from the other Ascended one would not be beneficial to you, because you have so much other damage reduction that the 10% will not increase it by much more, because there's diminishing returns in there. So the 66% chance to steal life on critical hit is really strong, because it's another source of healing every single second. And you crit a lot, because you're Celestial and you have oftentimes Fury. So for the traits, you want to run Corruption, Retribution, and Herald. Let's start with Corruption. It's really simple. You get a lot of Condi application with the minor traits, just more Condi damage, more just longer conditions, and you get more dominant damage from this trait. And then now we get to the damage reduction part. Incoming strike damage is reduced while you have resistance on you. That's quite important. 20% reduction is amazing. It's huge. No? Not a lot of classes actually have something like that. And now you might ask, where do we get resistance? You get resistance purely from this trait. Fiendish Tenacity. Every time you legend swap, you proc Invoke Torment around you, and it deals 8 seconds of resistance to you. So almost 9 seconds. And if you legend swap on cooldown, together with your Facet of Nature, which can extend the boons, and you can easily upkeep that 100% resistance. And every single second you have resistance, you get 450 healing almost. That's just amazing. And you get 20% damage reduction. It's insane. So you're so tanky and you get so much sustain just from using this. And of course, you're also immune to non-damaging conditions. So blind, immobilize, all that stuff, you don't care about it. It's really, really good. And then we get to Retribution. That's your, let's say, defensive and boon generating trait line. So you get increased endurance recovery, really good, 25% baseline. Then whenever you evade an attack, every 5 seconds ICD, you get Vigor, so you can also permanently upkeep Vigor. That's really strong. Together with this trait, you have a lot of endurance regen. And then you get reduced strike damage while you have Resolution, and you will see we have Resolution permanently as well. And together with the dodge mechanic, you get a lot of alacrity, and you can dodge more often because of the Vigor, so you have a lot of just dodge uptime as well. Then gain Resolution when you invoke a legend. That on its own upkeeps 100% Resolution, but this trait gives you even more damage reduction. If you don't need that, or if you don't get corrupted, the Resolution here is not important. So you could either go for deal increased strike damage to weakened foes. Disabling a foe applies weakness, that can also be helpful. Or just more protection. I think all of them are fine. But in that sense, those three are not that crazy important because this alone keeps up with resolution. So I would go for the most defensive one. And then the most important one here, Vicious Reprisal. While you have resolution, all damage dealt is increased. Just 10% flat damage increase. And resolution lasts longer, but most importantly, you gain might every single second when you strike foes while you have resolution. This is really, really good. So you can easily stack a lot of might just by using this trait. And therefore you solve all your might problems, because on the Celestial build, might is really important because it gives you condition damage and power damage increase. Really, really good. Then Herald just gives you access to your F2 skill. Like I said, you should always try to upkeep it and use it in the Flint form because it will increase the boon duration. In the Legendary Demon stance, this is your second stance, you can use it to transfer conditions. In the Clint stance, it will remove conditions. So both are really good if you struggle with conditions, but I would rather use it in the Facet of Nature one most of the time because it gives you a boon duration increase. Of course, you can do some sick transfers. For example, if you have some boss fights, you can get a lot of burning on you or something, and if you transfer it back, you get a huge damage increase. And your regeneration is more effective. The passive one proc here is not that crazy, but 20% increase to regeneration effect. And you can easily upkeep 100% regen, either by proccing this trait, but that's not that easy, or just dodging, because dodging in fight gives you alacrity and regeneration, and therefore you can upkeep it 100% and it heals more. It's really, really strong. Then you have more base health, really strong, and you get baseline more concentration, and you deal more damage per boon, and you have a lot of boons, so that's actually quite potent as well. Then strike damage taken is reduced for each point of upkeep you currently use. Really, really good. You have a lot of upkeeps. All of them reduce the strike damage taken. For example, if you do your Embrace the Darkness, you get 6 of those. So you get 9% damage reduction again. Really, really good. And you cleanse conditions with this when you use a shield skill, and you have in your offhand 2 shield skills. So this one pulses, so it has 4 Condi cleanses, and this one 1. If you don't need the Condi cleanses and don't need that much damage reduction, you can go for Shared Empowerment, which will increase your might generation even more. So you easily, instantly get might to 25. I would say this is the more aggressive one, but this one is the more straightforward one, and this makes this build even more tanky because you can deal with conditions way more easily. And just using shield for tough situations when you need a panic button to just, deny with a block and some nice healing, and Condi Cleanse is extremely potent. So use this in conjunction with shield. If you want to run X in your offhand for more offensive tools, then you would swap this straight to Shared Empowerment for sure. But like I said, this build is not all about damage, it's more about sustaining and winning the fight in the end. And then, last but not least, Elevated Compassion. Permanent quickness just by getting this trait, and a lot of concentration and healing. It's really overloaded, this kit. And yeah, what can I say? Quickness is really important to upkeep a lot of damage. So for the general combos and rotations is, you always want to cast Embrace the Darkness when you are in demon form, and keep it running as long as you have energy. And cast, of course, your skills. Try to use your auto attacks in between every single skill so that you proc the additional torment easily, and not overlap because it has an ICD. That's quite easy. So always use your Mace 2 and then your Mace 3 to get some Might Blast as well. Use your shield skill when you need healing and Condi Cleanses, and try to finish the auto attack chain. On Spear, you should use all your skills actually, they are all quite potent. Try to use your Abyssal Race first, because you can recharge the skill by using the other Spear skills. And it's really potent, especially with the CC and the soft CC on your 3 and 4. And on your Clint, when you swap to Clint, you should instantly use your Elemental Blast, so this skill twice, and upkeep your Facet of Strength together with your Facet of Chaos to get to 6 energy drain and permanently get quickness. And as soon as the energy is about to run out, you can either use the Facet of Chaos or just let it run out, and use the Facet or the Burst of Strength to get the damage buff, and then swap out of the legend. That's quite important. And otherwise, of course, use your healing skill when you need it, and your stun breaks when you need it. But all the other skills are more situational. Those are really important to upkeep. And of course, if you want to, you can also use True Nature, because it will increase passively the boons that you, the duration of the boons that you apply. And always try to use it before you swap out of Glint, so that you get the increase of 2 seconds and the Condi Glance if you need it. Really good. So always try to dodge before that, so that you get your Alacrity and all your skills that are applying boons that you otherwise wouldn't get. You should use it before them, so that you can increase the duration. So it's a really strong build. It has a lot of evades, a lot of blocks, a lot of healing and damage mitigation, but also a lot of boon access and a lot of offensive tools as well. It's just a really well-rounded kit. It might not have the best DPS, but it's extremely strong and extremely versatile in almost any situation. So be sure to give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.